Good evening, everyone. It is Brenda here for Samplicity, and welcome to What's Up Wednesday. All right, tonight we're going to explore the brand new collection from Elizabeth Craft Designs. This is the Bohemian Rose collection from Angelica Turner, and really excited to play around with this one. So this collection has a variety of products in it. First of all, it's going to have those wonderful florals, which I love so much. It's going to have the rose, which is the one we're going to play around with this evening. And then it also has the rose companion flower. All right, we're just going to play around with the rose because I really want to show you how you can make it into the rose, but also do a layering effect with it that will create a kind of a different type of floral. So we're going to be creating with that. But then it also had, and I love this one. Love this one. This is the fern and greenery. This is filler, as I call it. But I am a sucker for a fern. So I love this. This really, like when it cuts out, it is absolutely stunning. I love it. So we're going to be using components from that collection as well. And then it had this beautiful vase die cut, and I love it because you can do a two-tone effect, you can do a solid, or you can have the overlay, the detail overlay. And then it also came with this chipboard three-dimensional vase that you can build up. And then this die here is compatible with this, all right? So you don't have to worry about, fussy cutting out those pieces and such, tracing them and all. You don't have to because the die will do that for you. All right. Then I'm super excited about these other two products here. This one here is the Delicate Fancy Card Easel. Anyone that does framed picture cards, three-dimensional cards, this is an easel that it can stand upright because sometimes card fronts, when you start putting all this three-dimensional stuff on there, it becomes very heavy, and this is an easel for it. So it's really nice. Again, you can do the two-tone effect on there. You have the base and then the overlays. And then the one that we're going to be playing with this evening is this one here, which is a Delicate Fancy Pursed. And this will make a wonderful little purse. We're also going to try it as a little gift bag as well, and different ways to use this. All right, so a great way to put, little items in there. Gift cards would be wonderful as well. So I'm going to show you how to put that together. And then to complete this whole set, there is a stamp set here. And this is the Bohemian Rose Sentiments, which I think is a great sentiment piece. It's got some just great sayings, and a nice little fancy scripty ones on there, with all my love, birthday wishes, celebrate, congratulations. On this special day are just some of them that are on there. All right. So we're going to play around with the rose and the purse. We're going to combine the two and make a couple of different samples here. If you're watching, hello, welcome to this evening's What's Up Wednesday. If you have any questions, pop them in the comments, and I will check them out as we go by. Now, I have done a little bit of prep work to make things to go a little bit quicker this evening because you don't want me die cutting the whole time. We really want to see how to put this together and how we can put the flowers together. So, all right. So I'm going to start with this one here. Now, oh, I forgot the paper pack. Oh my goodness. There's a beautiful paper pack with this. And mine is all kind of apart, but this is a Bohemian Rose. I've used this on there, but take a look at the patterns on here. All right, so there is one. I love this one, which is the 4x6s. Great card fronts on them. Lovely florals, really, really pretty. So you're going to get two of each design on here. For those that do scrapbooking and journaling, there's some great pages that have floral borders on there with that beautiful rose. The ones in the corner. On the back is going to be more of a distressed pattern. All right. So you can see the lovely palette in here. I've used some of them to do some cutting already, but beautiful, beautiful soft colors on this. Really love it. Okay. So let me just grab, I'm going to talk about the purse die first. All right. And then we'll get into the florals. All right. So the purse die, I'm going to flip this around. And there's a bunch of different dies, but very easy to kind of follow along. All right, so I'm going to open this up because I think it would be better. All right, so you can see the pieces. Okay. All right, so I just want to go through what the pieces are here. All right, so this piece here, all right, this piece here is the base of your purse. All right, so when you do this, it's going to have two score lines on there, and those are going to be kind of like the hinges or the tabs. All right, so that's going to be the base. And then you have this one here, the more solid piece. This is going to be the side. So when you do this, you're going to need to cut two, the right side and the left-hand side. All right. Again, it will cut out and it will score all the necessary score lines on there. All right. So we've got the bottom and then we have the side. The side you have to cut out twice. All right. Then we have, which is the purse front and back. All right. So it will give you the solid one, but it also gives you a lovely um, detailed piece that then you can put on. All right. So this is not an inset piece. It will actually cut um, the outline as well as that little detailed on there. So you can mix and match. You can do solids if you have some really great pattern paper. You can do a two-tone effect with the overlay. So that is the front and what would be the back of there. So you would need to cut that twice. All right. Then this is the purse flap. All right. So again, it's going to have the flap. It'll have a score line in there, all right, so that you can open up. It'll become a hinge, and then you have that beautiful detailed piece that you can overlay on that as well. All right, so you would only need to cut one of those. Then the remainder of the pieces are kind of the detail pieces, all right? So this obviously is the handle. It's got a lovely stitched design on there, all right, so you can see that. And then we have, these are kind of like the little corner protectors on your purse, a little decorative, and then these are decorative for the handles as well. All of them have the stitching design on there to be consistent with the handle and such, all right? So that's what the die is all about, all right? So I'm going to show you a couple of ways on how to use this. We're going to do a beautiful purse, and then we're going to do kind of a little bag, all right? So I'm going to put this all back in there because I am going to lose pieces if I don't. So I will put it on a magnet sheet afterwards. But for now, it's going back in the package. And then let me show you what I've cut out now. Okay, like I said, I've taken the liberty of die cutting these pieces out, and I used that beautiful pattern paper from the Bohemian Rose collection. All right, so I have the flap here. All right, so it does have that score line on the top, and I positioned my paper or my die on my paper so that I would have that beautiful floral on there. All right, so we have that piece. Then I did the front and the back pieces. All right, so I just kind of took a more muted pattern of these ones. So we have the front and the back, and then for the front I did die cut one of the overlays. Now this die cut beautifully, but if you were to see my floor right now, I totally missed my garbage when I went to pop out all the innards of this one. And I'm pretty sure we're going to find all those little pieces amongst my floor, amongst my house, because the cats will track them everywhere. But anyways, but a really beautiful detailed piece. All right, so that's going to just go on the front. I didn't cut one for the back. All right, then we have our then I have my base. This is going to be my base. All right, so that's going to be my base. And then I have my two side pieces. All right, and they have that little gusset. When you fold it, it's going to become a little gusset side. So we needed two of those. And then I have my handle. Now, the cool thing about this die is that if you didn't want to mix and match your patterns, it takes only one full sheet of 12 by 12, which I don't think is too bad to make this purse. All right. You just have to make sure that you position your dies accordingly. And you'll be able to use a full sheet of 12 by 12 to make one purse. All right. So, but of course, I mixed and matched some of my patterns. So I did use two, but only half sheets of the two. All right, so let's go ahead and put this together. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to just take everything and fold it on the score lines. All right, so when you have these score lines, I always like to start in the middle and then kind of just push out to the outside edges with my fingers, all right? So I'm just gonna do that. And then I like to take my bone folder and then crisp them up, all right? So you go gentle for middle, work your way out, and um, then you can use your bone folder to crisp them up, all right? So that's our base. Now the side pieces are a little bit more difficult, and as you can see, I have already folded one because I really wanted to make sure I knew what I was doing when I came on live, all right? I have not made one of these yet, all right? So, so this one here, I know that um, the outside pieces, the two folds here are going to be folded as a mountain fold, all right? So I knew that, all right? So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And I'm gonna go ahead and take my bone folder and crisp them up, okay? Then there's one at the bottom here, a straight edge, and I know that one was gonna go in as well. So I had that one. But then we have this middle one that only goes down to about here, and then it flares out into the diagonal. So this one here, we have to be kind of careful. So you just want to kind of gently, and they're going to be all valley folds, all right? So I just kind of started that, and then just so that the paper knew where to bend. Um, and so I just started. I'm not going to crisp it up with the bone folder. I just want to have it, it's not going to lay flat or anything, but you just want to make sure that you do your best to get those folds in there, right? So it's the first one's always awkward, as I say, all right? The first one's always awkward. So I'm going to do the second one now. This one I haven't folded yet, so I'm going to start on those outside folds, and those are going to be mountain folds. So again, I'm going to start in the middle and then just work my way to the outside. I'll do the other side as well. All right, so start in the middle and then work your way to the outside. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. I've done that with just my fingers, and now I'm going to use my bone folder to crisp them up. All right, then we're going to do that bottom one again. That's a straight edge there, so we're just going to go ahead and do that with our fingers, and then we're going to do the bone folder. All right, now the inside ones are all going to be valley folds. So again, I'm just going to kind of work the paper, kind of tell the paper, yes, you're going to fold this way. All right. And then it just kind of pops into place because the score lines are there. It just makes it a little bit easier. All right. So I'm just going to go. All right. So I've gotten that there. And you can see that I've got them folded now. Okay. So easy peasy. All right. The first one's always the awkward one. All right, then I have my flap. Again, there's a score line on there, so I'm going to start in the center and then work my way to the outer edges and then use my bone folder. All right, so everything is now folded and scored where it needs to be. Let's put this together now. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and adhere this lovely overlay over top. So I am just going to use my glue here. I was supposed to fill this up. There we go. I was supposed to fill this up because it's nearly empty, and I did not. So with this, I'm just going to put a couple of dots, well, no, a few dots around the kind of edging, enough to hold it in place. This is the beauty of having one of these precision glue presses because you can get little dots. And then I'm just going to randomly put some kind of where they cross, the pattern crosses, just to make sure things are tacked down. All right, so I'm just randomly putting a few dots here and there. All right, that should be good. And then all you need to do is this frame this in there, right? So you're going to have a little border. All right, and look how beautiful that is. Nice little detail on there. So just think of all the embossing folders you have as well, the nice little detail you could do. You know, there are ones that Tim Holtz had that were kind of like a leather look. There was a tufted one, which would be really cool to make purses as well. I literally just bought myself a new little purse, and it's got that quilted design. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. I got to find my tufted embossing folder so I can make little tufted purses. All right. So that one is on. Okay. so now we're going to put all the little pieces together. All right, so I'm going to start, I don't know what is the best way, start on the bottom and then work your way. I'm going to start on the sides. I think it's just easier to get the sides on and then insert the bottom, but that's just me thinking. All right, so you do you. If you figure, you know, the bottom is easier to put on first, but now I am going to use a good double-sided tape here. So I don't want this to fall apart. So I'm going to put adhesive on all the tabs right now. All right. And they're all going to go on the kind of the front side. And you don't want to go past the score line for obvious reasons. All right. So there's that. I'm going to do them all just that then they're all done. All right, so I'm going to get all my adhesive done. And then, all right. Uh-oh, I think my son is home. And I didn't make him dinner. Haha, sorry, Josh, I didn't make you dinner. I didn't know you were going to be home. It's good that you picked up pizza then. So for those that don't know, Josh is moving out in a couple of weeks. He's got a place, but he's doing some renovations on it. So he's been working some late nights, so I didn't think he was coming home this evening for dinner. So anyways, he's on his own. So, okay, adhesives are all on. Okay, so we're going to start with the sides. And I'm going to start with the side tab. So I'm going to take the adhesive off, and then this is going to line up. I have my front. This is going to line up right to the piece here, right? And it's the same length. You want to just butt it up right to the score line, all right? And that attaches that, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and do the other side now. So grab the other, and we're going to take the adhesive off, and then I'm going to line this up. Sorry, I got to flip this upside down so I can work this way, but all right, so they are going to just match up the same way right up to that score line. All right, so there is that. All right, so now I'm going to go to the back side here, and I'm going to now attach the back side. All right, so I'm going to take the adhesive off, and we're going to line this up. I think these will be super cute shower gifts, little birthday gifts with gift cards on there. All right, so that's one side. And now I'm going to go ahead and attach this one. And we should have something that should resemble almost like a little box. All right, so there is our little box here. All right, so now we're going to work on the bottom here. All right, so I'm just going to flip that, and now this piece here, when we take the adhesives backing off, we are just going to slide this in. I'm just dry fitting it now. All right, so it's going to slide in, and that's going to be the base of our purse. All right, so easy peasy. They've made it really simple to do these. All right, so I'm going to take all the backings off. Now, if you are one of those people that like stress out about this because like you're using strong tape, and you don't want to freak your freak, and you want to make sure that things get stuck, here's a little tip. All right, if you need to have a little bit of movement, all right, before things get actually stuck, you want to use the strong tape. You want this purse to hold together, but you want to have that flexibility of being able to get things in place without sticking down right away. So liquid glue is your friend. All right, so if you actually just put liquid glue right over top of your double-sided adhesive, that's going to give you some play time to get things in place. All right, so anyone that makes albums and such, this is a good little technique to do. This way you can get things in place without it sticking right away, because now you have that liquid on there, so it's going to help. All right, So I am going to get this lined up and then we're gonna just place this in and everyone cross your fingers. All right. Oh, that was really easy actually. All right, so that's on and then I'm going to just go in the inside and burnish them down. Okay, done. I have a little box, everyone. I've done it. Okay. Super cute. And see, that's where the little gusseted sides are going to be on. All right. So now we're going to put um our little flap on. So I put the tape here. Now, if you wanted that flap on the outside, you definitely could, but I think it's cleaner if you put it on the inside. So I'm going to grab the release sheet, take it off, and then I'm going to insert it into my purse and then just line up that back right to the score line. And look at that. Now, I didn't think about a closure. I should have had a little Velcro on there, but I'll worry about that. I could do a magnet as well. I have these little magnets here. These are not, I should have done Velcro. You know how you can get those Velcro? I know from the dollar store you can get uh, the Velcro little back and forth, they little circles. That would be really great to do. Janice, I'm just seeing your question. Will an A2 card fit inside the purse? Wouldn't that be awesome? That's what I was hoping for too, but it's much too small. I'm gonna measure this just to give you a finished. All right. So I'm going to measure from the top because it does angle out. All right. So if you wanted to put cards in here, if you made it 4x4, I think 4x4. No. If you made little 4x3 cards, they would fit in here. All right. Those are those little um, return cards. They were the smaller ones for the wedding. I forget what they're called. Bar ones. The little bar ones would fit in here. 4x3s. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put a magnet. The magnet's going to show, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. So let me just grab some glue dots and let's get the magnet on. And then we're going to go into flower making. Oh, we got to put the handle on as well. Okay, glue dots, got them. Okay, so I'm using a big one for the larger one. And it will be seen. I'm not too concerned about this if it's being. All right, so we're going to get that one ready. And then the smaller one, I'm going to use a smaller glue dot. All right, so I'm going to place. All right, so I'm going to place the smaller one here, kind of in the center of that flap. I guess I should have used the back side of the paper, the insert paper, because it shows, but that's okay. It's just my sample. Then I have that one attached. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this one. I'm going to connect it to this one. I'm going to take the release sheet off of the glue dot, and then I'm going to just fold this over and give it a little bit of pressure. And my release sheet didn't come off. All right, there we go. And then that will get stuck on there. All right, so now these are really strong magnets. It's not, my glue dot is not holding. All right, I'm gonna have to use that glue dot. Does this wanna, I've used these ones before, the glue dots. Let me get a new one. Let me get a new one. All right, but the Velcro would be probably the better option than a magnet. No, my glue dot is not holding. All right, I will come back to that one here. But there, my magnet is on there. Okay, the last thing we have to do is put our little handle on. And this one here, well, you know what? I'm gonna take both of them off. My handle. All right, so this one here, I just cut out I'm just going to cut out one of the pattern papers, and I'm just going to kind of give it some curl. And this is going to go, looking at where they put it on. All right, so what they did is they had it actually curved, so it didn't close all the way. So they, and when I mean they, I mean Elizabeth Crafts. So basically, I'm going to attach it. I'm going to attach it just above that score line here. And I glued it the wrong way. Okay, this needs double-sided tape. Doo-doo. I guess this is why you should always make one before you go live, so you know what you're doing. All right, double-sided tape is on there now. All right, so then I'm going to place this on there, and then I'm going to wrap this around and then place this one over here. And then once I get my little, look how cute that is, my magnet or my fastener. I'm going to see if I think at the store I have Velcro, but look how cute that little purse is. Just so stunning. All right. So Burl, I know you just stopped, you just popped on. It is not a pattern. It is actual die. All right. So if you start this from the very beginning, you'll see the die. We can definitely send you this. You just have to let me know. All right. Or you can order it online. So there's my beautiful little purse. And again, really cute to put stuff in. All right. So you've got nice, if you were giving someone jewelry, this would be lovely. Gift cards would fit in there nicely. But how sweet is that? Okay, but let's decorate it. All right. Let's decorate it. Let's make a beautiful rose using that rose die cut. And I'm really excited about this. All right, so let me just grab the two dies I'm using. So I've used this one here. I've pre-cut everything. I already started inking some of this stuff too. All right, and then I'm using the filler die because I had to use that fern. And then I'm also using this lovely leafy one as well. All right, so I did cut everything out of Elizabeth Crafts soft finish cardstock. That is a cardstock I love making florals with. All right, it just accepts the ink really, really well, and it shapes really nicely as well. So let me just grab my tweezers. So I've got a few leaves here I've already colored, and I'll tell you the colors I used. That is the bud. All right, there's the ferns. Look how beautiful those ferns are. Look at those. Oh my gosh, lovely, right? Just beautiful. Okay, and then I cut one of those branches. Look how lovely that is. Sorry, excuse me. And then we have these guys here, which is going to hold the flower together. All right, so let me just talk about colors. For the ferns here, and that's all my colors here. The ferns here, I started with bundle sage and then added a little bit of shabby shutters, all right, just to get some different variations of green on there, all right? So those were done in bundled sage and shabby shutters, and I've used regular distress inks. You can definitely use oxide inks. The only issue is if you start shaping with oxide ink, sometimes if you're using metal tools, they will react with the ink, the distress oxide, so just to give you a heads up on that. This one here I did with shabby shutters only. All right, so that's that one. These little leaves here, believe it or not, I did with Rustic Wilderness, which is quite the dark green. which I seem to have put somewhere else, but I don't know what happened to it. I had it and now it's disappeared. But Rustic Wilderness is a darker green. Oh, it's probably underneath there. Rustic Wilderness. I did that one and then I mixed it with Bundled Sage to get this kind of two-tone effect. All right. So, and I'll show you how I did my florals. But honestly, I'm just adding a little bit of ink with the same technique I'm going to show you with the florals, just to color them. Okay. So there's that. Okay. Then my florals. There's my other leaves. I was wondering where they were. My florals, because I wanted to match the colors that were in here, I went with saltwater taffy, which seems a little bright, but it went on because I didn't want to color the whole flower, all right? I wanted to have some kind of almost white space on there. So you can see what I've got more color concentrated in the center. And I did both sides because these roses are going to be more three-dimensional. You're going to see the fronts and the back sides. So I did leave just a few florals here to show you how I went and colored these. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'm going to bring the camera down so you can really see this. So I apologize if I make you dizzy right now. Ooh, okay. I'll raise that back up if I need to. All right. So I personally love using the finger daubers. All right. And because I find you have more control over these. So these are the ones from Hunky Dory. These are the ones I really, really like. And I'm just going to grab my finger dauber for saltwater taffy. All right. So I'm going to start on the bigger one, and hopefully you can see this, okay? So I'm going to grab my ink, and I'm going to grab put some ink on my dauber, and I'm going to start on the center. And for this kind of finish, what I did is almost like a flicking motion as I am coloring, all right? So I concentrate that color, and then I kind of flick up so that we've got this kind of soft finish at the end, all right? So again, I'm just going to, all right? So I'm flicking, 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 building up my color, all right? And so I want lighter hues or lighter shading at the end of it. So it's just a flicking. And I always say practice. The more you practice it, the better you'll get at this, all right? So I just do that with all of them. I concentrate right in the center, and it's more of a flicking. Like my hand is going up, or my finger is going up with the dauber, so that we're getting that darker concentration of ink in the center, and then a light shading going towards the edge of the petal. All right. Um, what I like about this floral too is that there's a little debossing on there for the kind of veins of the petals, I guess you could say. So there's that. All right. Now, when the soft finish cardstock, it will, when it dries, I mean, that is wet. That is wet. And that is dry. So you can see that it dries a little bit lighter on there. All right. So then once I had that, then I just kind of hit the edge of the petals just ever so slightly. All right. So just to give it some shadowing on there. Now you have to do front and back. All right. So the back is always, because you've run it through your die cut machine, it's got some texture on there, probably from your base cutting plate, but it's the same kind of technique, all right? The top is going to go on much easier, but, and that's all you got to do is just that flicking motion. That's going to give you that kind of soft, faded out look, all right? So there's one, and then these ones here. So now, because we've gone smaller, we have to watch our flicking that we don't go right to the edge. So you just want to soften up your flick. These are technical terms, everyone. Soften up your flick. Oh my gosh. And so we're just going to add that color on there. All right, I'm going to do both of these and we'll flip them over. And it's just a light touch. All right, usually I'm heavy-handed, but this is just a light touch. And my ink pad is a really saturated. Saltwater taffy is one of those colors I don't use, and I don't know why, because it's very, very pretty. So I'm just going to hit the edges. And then I'm going to do the backs. And then we're going to start shaping. All right, let's do the backs. The backs don't need to be perfect. They're not going to be a whole lot of it's not going to be seen. It's just we are going to have petals that are going to be turned up a little bit. So you just want to make sure that they're covered. All right. Those are done. All right. So I did the same kind of thing with my leaves. Um, again, when I did the rustic wilderness, I did a flicking from this way. All right. And then I just added in the bundled sage afterwards. All right. So, okay. Let's go ahead and now start shaping these ones. All right, so Spellbinders has this great foam mat that fits in one of their craft trays, which I love because it protects my mat now. I love the density of this one. It's got some, it's not squishy, all right? So when you do the pressure, you're gonna get some nice shaping. So I'm gonna start with the largest one. We're gonna create the biggest floral. And for this one here, we're going to create, we're going to use one of each size. All right, so I'm going to pull the die back out here. One of each size, except for the smallest one, we're going to do two, I believe. All right, so those are the one, this is going to create this type of rose here. At least I hope it will. All right, so there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different sizes. I'm using all of them to make one rose, one large rose. When we go down one, we're going to make a smaller rose. Then I just downsize the size as well as how many. All right. And then we're going to do a little bud. Okay. So let's go ahead and start doing this. And there's lots of tools that you can use to shape. All right. So this, look at the, this is, so I attended the Banff retreat with Elizabeth Crafts just recently. This is a little like goodie bag. All right. So it's a little leather tool holder, which is awesome. So it has all my shaping tools in there. So thank you to the Elizabeth Crafts team. I'm loving this. So, so there's different, that you can use to shape. All right. So if you are new to shaping, you want to make sure you have a stylus. All right. And I always say a large ball stylus so you can see that this is pretty big, and a medium ball, and then a small ball. All right. So definitely you can use those ones. And then there's other tools. There's shaping tools. Some of these are old. And I don't even know if you can get them. I hardly ever use these ones, the hockey sticks and all that. I typically go and use what I have a lot of, and that's my spoons. All right, I do use that, but I am going to be using a stylus with these ones as well. So I've got my spoon. That's what I love using to shape my florals, and I also got the stylus. All right, the rest are going to go away. All right, and while I'm going to see if my glue gun's going to work this time. I made sure it was charged. All right, so I'm going to start with the bigger one, and we're going to start shaping this one. And I have it facing up, and I'm going to just lie my spoon, the tip of the spoon, kind of in the middle of that and pull down. And what will happen is you'll get these beautiful creases in there, all right? Now, because these petals are a little bit bigger, I may go to the back side and then do the same thing, but I'll do the left and right. So this one here, I'm just going to pull down in the middle. Now, I am kind of pushing down quite hard. This paper can take it. Sometimes I will wet the paper, but because I've already inked these, I'm not going to worry about wetting the paper. All right. So there's my first kind of shaping. Now I'm going to flip this around, and now I'm not going to go as hard, but I'm just going to pull it on the left and the right hand side. So now we're going to get some nice kind of bends and folds and creases on these petals. All right. And I promise you, it will look like a floral when we're done. Whether or not it looks like a rose, I'm not sure. But now when I push in the center of this, you can see when it curls up, look how beautiful that is. Let me just pull that up. All right, so you're gonna kind of see, look how beautiful, all right? Just with a spoon, no special tools for this, guys, no special tools. All right, so I'm gonna do the same thing with all of them. I'm gonna go a little bit quicker this time. This one here, I'm still gonna do the center on each of them and then the back side. So back in the day, we used to use the styluses to shape, and oh my gosh, my hands would get sore. And I know other people's hands would get sore. So the spoon is a little bit easier to use, and you have to put some pressure to it though, okay? So don't be afraid to really crease it. All right. Now this one here, um, I'm going to really kind of just push in the middle. I'm not going to worry about the back side. All right. So I'm going to do that with all of them now. All right. So you can see how quickly you can do the shaping. It's much quicker than a stylus. All right. So when you get into these smaller ones, you really want to use the tip of the spoon. Now I know I was given a teaspoon, a smaller one, but I like this one. All right. So now I have them all kind of shaped. Oh, my glue gun is working. Hallelujah. All right. Good, good, good. Okay, so we're going to go ahead now and start gluing this together. Now, these ones here, when we get to the center, we're going to kind of fold these in to create that kind of like center of that rose. So I just like to work it before. All right, so I just kind of, oops, get it on camera. I just like to cup those petals together. And this is where I like to use my stylus. All right, so, and I like to use both the large and the small for this one. So I'm going to start with my large one. And then this one had the little, I don't know what this is called, but this is kind of the base of it. And it's just a nice base that you can start. Not that you're really going to see that, but I am going to use it to glue things down. All right. So I'm going to start with this and I'm going to put a spot of glue in the center. Now I'm using hot glue. You can definitely use white glue. All right. Your dry is clear. But it's just the hot glue does instant grab. All right. So once I have my glue on there, then I stick my stylus and I really push down. And you can see now you're going to start getting that shaping. All right. So, all right. So there is one layer. All right. So we're going to continue on. Spotted glue in the center. Don't need a lot of glue. And then I'm going to offset the petals. I'm going to stick that in there and then I'm going to grab my stylus and give it some pressure. I'm giving it a whole lot of pressure. I don't know if you can really see. I'm really pushing into that and let that glue dry. All right. So honestly, a hot glue gun is going to be your friend. Look at that. Look at the texture you're going to get. Look at the dimension you're going to get. All right. That's why I say use. I know it's beautiful, and I haven't even like made it yet. All right. So we're going to continue on. Oh, I got glue where I shouldn't have. This glue, I really need to get a new glue gun. This one I got free at a show. And I thought it was the most amazing thing ever because it was cordless. It was a rechargeable one, but it just causes me more grief than anything. All right, going to throw that stylus in there. I give it some pressure. All those petals cup up. All right, and there is that. All right. We're going to keep on adding. Oh, now it's flowing good. All right, that's good. Okay, so I'm going to start kind of cupping this in to get it in. And I'm going to grab my stylus and all right, look at oh, it's so pretty. Okay, then we're going to get these guys in there. All right, so this one I'm going to put a little glue and hope I don't burn myself this way. I just switched to my smaller stylus just so I can get in the middle. And then this little guy here, I'm going to cup around, all right? And now I'm going to hold it, and then I'm going to glue and stick it in place. And there is my lovely rose. Not bad. This is my first time you doing it. All right, so not bad. All right, look how beautiful it is. And then once that glue is set, then you can kind of, um, you know, play around with it. So one of the things that you can do is if you have your tweezers, you can go ahead and kind of now bend those petals back a little bit, all right? Just to give them a little bit more dimension, all right? So I'm using a pair of tweezers that have the curved edge on here, so you can actually kind of grab it and then you can start just bending them back a little bit. I mean, it looked great the way it is, but I'm just going to add just a little bit more dimension. All right, I'm happy with that. I think that's beautiful. All right, so there's one. All right, let that put that to the side. Let's do the next ones. Next one. All right, so I'm going to do this the same way as I just did. All right, so I'm going to just curl these petals. I'm going to be quick about this because you've seen me do this. So time permitting, I do want to do another one using the rose floral. Um, and I have everything cut and um, inked already, so it should go together really, really quickly. But I want to show you how to use that handbag in a different way, that little purse to make it more into a bag. All right, so, all right, let's glue this one together. So, oh, I'm going to get the base work on this one. All right, so let's stick that on and give some pressure and let that glue set. Oh, that one went really nicely. Look at the dimension on there. And that's why you want to put that little I don't know what that's called, but that little green thing, the little spider thing on there, because then that really kind of just cups it like a rose. All right. So again, we're gonna put a little spot of glue. I'm gonna stick that in there and give it some pressure. Oh my gosh, can you hear my cat? Oh, he's howling. I think he does it when he gets lonely. He can't find his brother. His brother's hiding from him. So, all right, and then I'm just going to grab this little piece, this little guy here, and let's stick that right in there. All right. Oh, that one turned out really cute. Look at that. All right. So again, you can go ahead with your tweezers and maybe kind of just bend a few of them. That one turned out really good. All right. So there's my second little rose. Lovely, lovely. All right, we got one more. This one only has three. This one's gonna be more of kind of a smaller bud, or it's just opening. So this one here, I'm gonna just shape really quickly. But when I glue this one, I really want it to kind of cup up. And this is why I say you want to have that backside covered or inked, because you might see it. For this one here, you will see it. All right, so now, for those that are looking for this, I think we're sold out of the rose. But I have more in order. They should be here next week. All right. So anyone that's looking for it, I know Burl, you're going to want it. I will get you hooked up with it when it comes in next week. So let's put this little guy on there. Okay, so I'm going to stick this on, and then I'm going to use and really give it some pressure. All right. So there is that. And now it's hard to get these little ones in sometimes. Before they stick down, I'm going to use my smaller stylus here. All right, and then this little guy, we're going to really kind of push that all in to make this tiny little kind of bud-like shape for the center. And now I'm just going to manipulate that a little bit to make it just more of a little guy that's just kind of opening up, all right? The little rose. All right, so I think they turned out nicely. All right, so now there is a smaller floral here, but it's an accent floral, all right? And they've just used it on there. I don't know if I'm going to use it on my purse, but I didn't color them, so okay. So I'm just going to now start and adding a little cluster here. So I have my fern. So I'm going to start with my fern, and I'm going to use my hot glue just because it's going to be instant grab. All right, so I just stuck that on. I'm not worried about the excess glue because all my florals are going to really cover this up. All right, and then let's go ahead and do our second fern. Now I'm going to just trim off the base of it. We don't need such a big one here. And let's just have this coming out like so. Okay, that's going to be my base. Now, normally I put my flowers down and then I put my filler in, but I wanted this down. Excuse me. I wanted this down first. All right, so there is that. Now I'm going to go ahead and arrange my florals. All right, so I'm going to take my big one and I'm going to use my hot glue and I'm going to place that like so. All right, there's that. And then let's do our small or medium-sized one. And we're going to place that one there. And then our little guy. Now I'm just putting more. I'm putting glue on the base, but I'm also putting it on the side because I want this to have more of a side angle. All right, so there's my little cluster. Look how beautiful that is. Love it. So pretty. All right, so that's all stuck on there. And now I'm going to go in with my leaves. I didn't actually shape my ferns, and I should have, but that's okay. Okay, so my leaves here, I'm going to flip them to the back side and then just going to pull my spoon down the center of it. All right. And it's just going to give it some lovely dimension. So I'm going to do that for all three of these ones. Okay. And then you can kind of bend up the tips and all that. Now, you'll notice that I didn't go right down to the coloring of the stems, and that's okay because they're going to get stuck behind, all right? So now we're just going to go ahead and insert these. So I just like to put a little bit of glue on the stem and then stick down, all right? Don't really play with it. I'm going to rip some of those stems off. Place and let it be. I feel like I need something in there because you know what? I'm going to just move up these petals. There we go. That's what I needed. Nope, put it in the right way. Okay. Whoop. Okay, so there is my little floral cluster. And then this one here, I love this one. I love the look of it, but I'm going to use bits and pieces of it now. So I'm going to rip it apart. All right, so I'm going to now add this kind of here, there, wherever I'm just putting a little bit of glue just on the base, and then I'm just going to stick it in and just let it be. All right, so I say let it be, but I need to stick that down there. All right, there's that. And then these ones here, I'm just going to rip off this one, put a little bit of glue, and let's put this one over here. And then finally, we have just the little guy here, and it's just like a little 2-leaf piece. And again, I'm not worried about the ripped edges because it's going to be concealed underneath this, right? It's just we tuck it in and then it's done. Look how beautiful that is. Sorry if I made you do a bit dizzy there. But there is my little purse. And again, I'm going to get Velcro on there, but look how beautiful that is. All right. Now, I didn't use the bud, and there's a bud here, but I didn't color it very well, so I'm not going to use it. I like the three-dimensional look. If I wanted to, I could add these other little ferns, but I think we have enough on there. And then to finish this off, because I can, is I'm going to give this a little shimmer. I don't know where my regular shimmer is. So I have my Lindy's gold spritz here. And we're going to shake that up. And I'm going to give this a little bit of a spray. And then I'm going to let it dry. And we're going to have a beautiful shimmer to it. All right. Then we'll get on to the next one. All right. So I'm going to spray this off camera. But when you do the shimmer spray, all right, you'll notice I was shaking it back and forth like this, all right? Never up and down, because otherwise you're going to force that mica that's in there up the nozzle, and then you're all going to clog, and then you're going to say, but I didn't shake it upside down. But yeah, shake it back and forth so that you have no sediments on there. And then when you spray it, you want to spray it upright as well, all right? Never spray it sideways, this way, all right? Always spray it upright, all right? So I'm going to give it a shimmer, a couple of spritzes. All right, and then we are going to let that dry. I don't know if you can see, but you'll see slight shimmer, but look how beautiful that is. Oh, so pretty. All right, so I'm going to let that dry. I'll take up nice close-up pictures of that tomorrow morning, and I'm going to find my Velcro so that I can now put the Velcro on there. I don't know if the camera's picking up that shimmer, but it's absolutely stunning. Oh, I love it. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry. And let's go to my second one. All right, this one won't take as long. I am just going to shut my glue gun off just so that it's not flowing. And let's do this one. So I'm going to make this more simple, but we're going to make this into more of a not so much a purse, but a handbag. All right. So if I bring the die up here, there is the other version of it. All right. So we're not going to use the top flap, all right, the closure. We're going to have this as an open one. All right, so again, and I bring to my florals, we're going to do a different type of floral on this one. It's the same die, but we're going to just shape it differently. Okay, so this here was just cardstock I had from Uniquely Creative, I think. All right, it's just kind of mustardy yellow. I just thought it was kind of cool. And then this is where I'm going to use the accent pieces on this one as well. So let's go ahead and start with the folding. So again, you can see the folds much better, or the embossed score lines on here much better than the pattern paper. So again, when you do this, you want to kind of start in the center, give it a little push, and then move your way out to the outside edges. All right, so I'm going to do that on both sides, and then use your bone folder to crisp them up. And my bone folder has left. Oh, there it is. All right, so there's that one. And then we have our two side pieces. We're going to do the same thing. So the outer score lines are the straight ones on the outer edges. You are going to do a mountain fold, all right? So same thing as we did. You're going to start it in the middle and move your way down on each of them, all right? So then I'm going to use my bone folder to crisp them up. All right, then the inside score lines, I'm going to start with that middle one, and we're just going to, you're not going to fold it completely. You just want to give it, you just want to push that so you have that indentation, all right? So easy to do. There's that one. Okay, let's do the other side. I'm going to do the same way. And I'm going to move a little bit quicker this time. Oopsie. All right, so once you have them folded by your hand, then you can use your bone folder. All right, so that's the outside ones, and then I'm just going to all right, so there's that one, and that is it. All right, so let's put our adhesive on this one. I know I'm moving really quick, but you saw me do this one already. So this one's going to go together really quick. But oh my gosh, there it is. Seems like I'm losing everything. I really, really need to organize my desk here. You only see what is in camera view, but around my glass mat here is mess. Mess, mess, mess. It's what happens when you work on multiple projects at a time. All right, so again, double-sided tape is going to be your friend, a good strong double-sided tape. All right. I suppose you could do liquid adhesive, but I always find when you're putting something three-dimensional together, it can get a little messy sometimes. But I do like using the liquid glue on top of my adhesive when you have to kind of fit in that last piece, that last puzzle of the design. All right, so while I'm just doing this, I'm going to make sure there are no questions. No, everyone just loves it. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. And Burl, I see all your requests. We'll make sure we got you covered. All right. Okay, so this one is no overlay or anything. We're just going to make this into just a little plain handbag. All right. So we're going to start with the side pieces. All right, so I'm going to take one of the pieces off and we're going to line this up. All right, and let's do the other side. All right, and now we'll do the back here. Okay, so there is our little box, our little bag. All right, so now we're going to work on the bottom here. So this is what I was talking about, putting liquid glue on top of the adhesive so that you can get things in place without it sticking right away. All right, so I'm just taking the tab or the tape off the tabs here. And then this is our bottom piece. And I'm going to take the release sheets off. Sorry, I just realized I didn't lift up my camera. So you're getting really good close-up shots of me doing all this. All right, so my adhesive is there. Now I'm going to put liquid glue right over top of that so that my tape does not adhere right away and it gives me some play time to get things in place. All right. So we're going to put that on there. And there. That went in nicely. All right, and then I'm going to just very carefully make sure things are stuck on the inside. And there is our cute little bag. All right. Super cute. All right. So there's that. Now we're going to go ahead and I'm going to add the little decorative corners on here. So I just cut them out of brown paper. All right. So these are going to go on here. All right. So it's the little corners of the bag here. They're just going to line up right to the edges. All right, there is a left and a right. One side is going to be slightly longer than the other one. So, and they're just going to fit right to the edges. I mean, how much fun can you have with this in terms of the pattern papers and, oh, so much fun. And like I said, embossing folders on them would be great as well. So you would die cut first and then you would emboss them with your embossing folder. All right, so there is that. Now we're going to put our handles. So I cut two handles. So these are going to go on the front and the back. All right. So we did two handles for this one. And I'm going to put tape on this one just to hold it down. And then we have the little decorative elements to hold that everything down in terms of the handle. All right, so take them off, the release sheets. All right, and I'm going to stick this on the front. I'm going to bring in maybe about a half an inch. All right, one, and then you're going to turn this around, and then you're going to do the other side the same way. All right. Look how cute that is. Oh my gosh. Okay. Then we have these little decorative pieces and they have the stitching on it as well. And then you can actually glue them on. That's really going to hold these down. And look how beautiful. Look at that cute little purse. All right. Again, maybe you should pick better colors than I did in my studio lighting. When I don't have the big lights on, it looked like it was more yellow, but it's more mustardy, I guess. But all right, so we're just going to stick that on. Now, I did not cut the extra pieces for the other side, but you would do the same on this side. You would have these decorative pieces here. I do have the handle, but I didn't cut the other brown one, so I will do that. But I'm going to put my handle on. Oh, Sherry, that's a good idea too. A snap closure for the purse as well. There's so many things that you can do with this. I think it's such a great die. All right, so let's stick this on. And my second handle, we're going to turn it around and stick that down. And look at our cute little handbag. Oh my gosh, right? Oh, so sweet. I love it. All right, so and I'm just going to kind of give that a little push. But how fun would that be? You could do a little self-care kit in there with, for your girlfriends, a little pack of tissues, a lip balm. Like you could have so much fun with that, right? So, okay, but let's get to the floral that we're going to decorate this with. All right, so for this one here, let me turn on my glue gun here. I just did the very largest rose. I did 3 of them, and then I shaded them already with squeezed lemonade. No, scattered straw, and then I edged them with a little bit of brown. All right, they are a little too yellowy for this one here, but I figure I'll spritz them with a little bit of the gold spray and maybe it will tone it down. All right, so I did 3 of them. And we're just going to put a floral embellishment on this little purse. All right, so we're going to do this one a little bit differently. For the original rose, I started on the front side and started my turning. For this one here, I'm starting on the back side and I'm going left and right and then center. All right, so now we're getting a different look. Now that petal is turning down. All right, so I'm doing all the shaping on the back side. All right, and I'm doing it 3 times. So left, center, right. All right, because this is such a large floral, as you go down in size, you may not need to do 3 times on there, maybe once or twice. But for this one here, I'm just doing that. All right, so we've got that great kind of creases in there. All right, so I'm going to do all 3 of these ones the same way. Now, I will tell you, be a little gentle with these florals. There is only that little center that's holding them all in place. So just be careful that you don't play "He loves me not," and you pull off the petals. If that's the case, you just glue them back into place. But all right, so. And again, with these ones, I did front and back with the coloring, with the inking, and I did the flicking motion as well. All right, just like I did with the pink rose. I started from the center and kind of flicked my color out to the outer edge. So we get that kind of fade out. And then I hit the edge with a little bit of brown. Okay, so now these guys are all shaped. And now I'm going to grab my stylus and we are going to start with one of them. And we're going to put a spot of glue in the center. And then I'm going to grab another one. I'm going to offset the petals, stick in the middle, and then I'm going to grab my stylus and squish down. All right. So you can see we're getting a totally different look of there because we've used the size, we've just layered the same size together. All right, and I'm going to do the one more. I'm going to do the same thing. The two looks lovely, but we're just going to add one more to make it just a little bit fuller and add some pressure in the center. And we have this lovely floral now. All right, so a little bit different from our rose. All right, so you can see, all right, different type of floral. This is what I love about the Elizabeth Craft floral dies is because you get a variety of sizes of the same shape. So that makes, you can like layer the same shapes on one another, or you can layer the different shapes on to create a different look. All right, so we have that. I'm going to spritz this with the gold. All right, so I'm just going to shake it back and forth, and then I'm going to spray it just off camera, and as well as my hand. All right, and now we're just going to wait for that to dry. All right, I think I'm going to put a little gold pearl on there, but then we're going to attach this. You know, you could put this on a little chain. It could be one of those little chain, little charms on there. But now I don't know. Actually, I think I'm going to put it on the handle here. I don't want to hide up the little, I'm going to put it on the handle here. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue and hopefully not burn myself. Okay, I'm going to let that dry. And then I'm just going to go grab my pearls. All right, because I think this needs pearls, and I think the purse itself, the little handbag, needs some pearl details as well. So let me go grab my gold pearls. Somewhere. There they are. And now the next thing, where's my little tray? All right, so I'm going to find a big pearl here. This one here, I'm just going to use my regular glue here. All right, let's just place that in there and let that just dry. My wax tip. All right, so we're going to leave that on there, but I want to put some pearl details on here. So I'm going to put one kind of right on this little detail here. I'm just going to put a couple spots of glue there, and then I'm going to use kind of the smaller ones. And now we're going to dress up this purse a little bit. Turn off my glue gun here. Small one. Oh, they finish off very nicely, those. All right, so I'm going to put one in the corner here, one in the corner here. All right, I think I'm going to quit because I really like the simplicity of that. If I start adding more in the other two corners, I think it might be overkill. But look how sweet that is. The flower might be a little bit big for this one, but I really wanted to show you that you could use that floral to create a really kind of different shaped floral than the actual rose. All right. So there is our cute little handbag. All right. So super, super sweet. And then we have our really beautiful purse here with that cluster of roses on there. Just absolutely stunning. I really need to get a little closure on there. But that is the Elizabeth Craft Florals, the Bohemian Rose Collection, the purse die, and then the rose dye that I've used for both florals, and then the greenery or fern and greenery. So three different dyes I did use. And then you could do the same thing with that lovely vase that's in the collection too. You could really create a fun three-dimensional piece using the chipboard. All right. And then this is like a gift that keeps on giving, right? These florals always last, and you can create a nice little bundle or bouquet in the vase. All right. So that is it for me this evening, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. You know, I love making these florals and they're just super fun at making this. This is a great collection. And I'm really happy with the way that turned out. Um, all right, everyone, I'm going to sign off unless there's any questions. Thanks for joining me this evening on the live as well as on the replay. We appreciate you tuning in. All right, everyone, have yourself a great night, and we will talk to you soon.